Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows, the new Star Wars movies that are currently in development, as well as everything that comes in between, everything related to what John, George, and Dave are trying to develop with the new Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So what's even all the more exciting right now is exactly what's happening between George, John, and Dave, and what they're really trying to do in order to incorporate both Legends and the new Disney canon to really make things into a brand new take on Star Wars and building it from the ground up. We already know that shows like the Ahsoka series, the sets are being built as we speak. They are preparing to begin filming by this April. They were supposed to begin filming in March, but that got delayed. Nothing too significant. It's not going to affect the release date for 2023. They just have to kind of get more sets built before principal photography begins. Now, on top of all of this, one thing that a lot of fans have been really looking forward to is the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. Now, the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series is probably the most anticipated Star Wars show for this year, and I think it might even be more anticipated than the Ahsoka Tano series, because it's giving us the familiar face, no other than Darth Vader, and the first return of Hayden Christensen since 2005. You know, we haven't seen the guy on screen as Vader / Anakin Skywalker in the longest time. Sure, we heard his voice in Episode 9, but that was about it. So, when May 25th arrives, alright, that's when things are really going to begin to unravel for how the new universe is going to be treated. Now, on top of all of this, with both Disney and Lucasfilm now focused on their new Star Wars TV shows like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and even Star Wars Ahsoka, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been helping out with director Deborah Chow on the Kenobi series, which debuts on May 25th of this year. Now, further, it's noted, however, that one of the scenes that was filmed some months ago is going to be teased in the upcoming trailer, which is set to debut this March, that will feature Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. The scene that is set to feature in the 4th episode of the Kenobi show reveals Hayden's version of Vader unmasked, being taken out of a bacta tank with the help of 4 medical droids, hooking him up to 4 separate pieces of machinery that keep him upright during this scene. The sequence is set to feature a close-up shot of Darth Vader's face with his eyes closed, hearing distant voices such as, of course, Palpatine, that is going to be mixed with the words of Padme Amidala, that being, of course, to make up in his actual mind, and where we actually get a sequence where he actually shakes his head back and forth, where he eventually begins to wake up in this segment with the bionic limbs beginning to attach to his flesh body. Now, this is something directly taken from the Star Wars Vader comics. I don't know if you guys read the comics, but they really do detail how Vader is able to get suited up through the use of droids and robots, and how basically we're going to finally be able to see that for the very first time on screen in the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. Now, keep in mind that this is for Episode 4, and from what we've been hearing is that Vader will not show up until the 3rd episode of the Vader, sequence, of course. For the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, his first appearance will be in Chapter 3. So that's one thing to be aware of, is that the first 2 episodes, Vader will be absent, he will be teased, but he will not be seen per se. And that's really gonna, make a lot of fans wonder, where is Vader for the first 2 chapters? So it's a little heads up there. But Chapter 4 is where things begin to really spice up. Now, on top of this, alright, this is where fans saw, of course, everything happening to Vader in Revenge of the Sith, where he gets suited up for the very first time, but this time it's going to be different. This time around, Vader is placed into the suit from the help of medical droids and the 4 large robotic arms. These robotic arms are near similar to what are seen in vehicle manufacturer plants. Now the scene then progresses to a point in time where Vader is set to look out the window of his castle on Mustafar, with 2 TIE fighters flying off into the distance with large streaks of lightning in the background. This whole scene, as it turns out, takes place within Vader's castle on Mustafar, and fans will once again be able to witness the beloved location from Rogue One again in this series. So, in case you guys didn't know about this, The Rise of Skywalker was supposed to bring us back to Vader's castle. There was an entire scene planned out, they canceled it altogether. In fact, Kylo Ren's very first scene in Episode 9, a lot of people don't know that that takes place on Mustafar because of how different the environment is. But it is Mustafar. And that's where Kylo Ren was originally going to head towards. Now, I digress, because this is something very special. The fact that they are bringing back the Vader Castle that Rogue One's creators really brought into live action form and really gave us their own take on Vader's Castle. If you guys look at Vader's Castle in Star Wars Legends, it is far different than what we got in the Rogue One, a Star Wars story film. And I love it, by the way. It has that tuning fork design. It's got that streak of lava flowing out of it. I love it. It's a perfect design, and what better way to give the fans the opportunity to see it again in the Kenobi series, right? So moving on from that, one of the other important shots that will debut in the show is set to feature Vader approaching a large stone-like structure that is going to be explored in the second half of his castle. Now, this is best described to appear like an old Sith statue that Vader was able to salvage, as he begins to kneel in front of the statue. This statue is said to mimic Tor Valum from the original Episode 9 concept art that was supposed to be the master of both Palpatine and Plagueis. Now, it's likely that this is the creator's way of bringing in Tor Valum into the Disney canon, as they have been discussing placing him into the canon material with one of the upcoming Star Wars shows. Now, Vader here is said to be holding his crimson lightsaber in his right hand during this brief Sith meditation session, with a track that was created for the scene that sounds very much like Darth Plagueis' theme from Revenge of the Sith. It's something that Deborah Chow wanted to do in order to really explore more of the interior of Vader's castle on Mustafar. Now, keep in mind that some of the shots of this scene will be featured in the upcoming Kenobi trailer that is all set and ready to debut in the middle to late portion of next month in March. That's going to be quite the experience, to say the least. The fact that fans are going to be able to see the second half of Darth Vader's castle's interior. Now, we already learned about this in canon, that the castle on Mustafar is very much significant, not just with the dark side of the Force because it sits on top of a Sith temple or a Sith cave, but the fact that there is so much held within the castle to be explored that we have yet to have seen. Now, sure, the VR video game Vader Immortal kind of gives you a little glimpse into the interior, but it doesn't explore every single square inch of the castle, and there is so much in there. You know, to the observatory, to the first half, the second half, and what lies beneath. There's a lot to be explored in the Vader Castle, and the Kenobi series, let me tell you, I mean, the fact that they are aiming for this dark and ominous feeling in the castle, it's really going to give fans a sense of awe and a sense of mystery when it comes to Darth Vader's story. So overall, guys, you know, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, what you guys are expecting. What do you think about this scene that is unfolding for the Kenobi show that's going to take place in Chapter 4 of the Kenobi series? So let me know what you think about all of that below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, then make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.